She was drinking water and the janitor from the company nearby was doing her job. She then complains that the water is hot and asks if he is not ashamed to give her hot water and throws the rest at the boy. So he apologizes for not knowing that the water was so hot. She says that her company only has incompetent people and leaves. He then hits her head with the handle of the squeegee and she falls to the ground, and at that moment he starts to wonder what he did to her and desperately asks for help and is trying to wake her up. At that moment another employee appears there asking what is happening and the janitor says that she was not feeling well and passed out. So he says he has to call an ambulance. The other guy goes to take the phone in his pocket and then starts smiling saying he doesn't have to call an ambulance but a sound car and fireworks. He continues to say she should have been there for a long time. The janitor is outraged, not understanding why he acts like that and continues to insist on calling an ambulance. Then the other says that she doesn't have to call an ambulance at all, because she's a terrible person and that as the owner of the company she doesn't recognize the value of her employees. And he goes on to say that she made him redo an entire article that had to be turned in due to a single punctuation error and that the writing had to be perfect and forced him to redo it all over again. The janitor still doesn't understand and says that it has nothing to do with what was happening there, and that he has no compassion, because she is in very bad shape and has to call an ambulance. Then the other goes on to say that the boss is insufferable and that he doesn't really know her and that he's not the only one who doesn't like her there and that he's sure she's treated him badly too. Then she asked him to keep quiet and that he would solve everything at that moment, and she remains there lying on the floor while he claps his hands and laughs. In this, the janitor will see if she still has a pulse while the other vibrates with joy and then calls the other employee, telling her to go fast to see the situation of her boss there on the floor. She then arrives smiling to see her boss lying there and then they vibrate and give thanks to God for everything that is happening there with her. So they tell the janitor to smile too and that it's all a reason for joy and continue with insinuations about their boss. He then says that he doesn't understand anything that is happening there and that they have to stop that attitude. Then the employee says that she couldn't take it anymore, telling her to do things and that even to go to the bathroom she had to help her. While he worries about the state of the boss on the ground, the other two simply feel victorious about it all. But the janitor is not satisfied with everything, saying that she felt sick. She then says that God answered her prayers and that she had been hoping for a long time for that to happen. So they decide to turn her. The employee will come complaining about her weight, and the janitor asks them not to do that to the boss, and that he will have to tell the police what they are doing. She then tells her partner, "Look there," and asks who he thinks he is and humiliates him by calling him a janitor, while the boy holds him by the shirt and threatens him. And he goes on to say that no one will believe that she just fell to the ground, and that he was with her and that if he said anything he would be arrested. And they keep saying that they will believe them because they are competent employees and that he is just a simple poor janitor, and then tells him he has to stay in his place. But he says he will have to tell the police everything, and the other two tell him to keep quiet and threaten him. She then says that her boss has no idea what she had done in her company, that she took all the new machinery to her house leaving only the old ones in the company, and that now she will never find out. The other then says that the boss was desperate behind the equipment and that she was the one who carried it, and they begin to smile. He says the boss asked him to set up an account in another country to put the investment money in, but little did she know that the account was his and that all the money would now be his. And they continue to get rid of their boss, saying that she left an opportunity and that he takes the opportunity to get along, and they smile in celebration. The janitor then asks if they are not human beings, that they are robbing the company and making fun of his boss's state at that moment. So the employee tells him to shut up and says that they have money for being smarter than him, while he feels sorry for her, and if she is there it is because she was a very bad person. They keep talking and don't give opportunities to help the boss, and they still say that she's there like that because she deserved it, and they keep pointing to the janitor and telling him to keep quiet. So they decide to see if she has money in her pockets and starts digging around and pulls out a certain amount and a credit card from her pockets. They are happy with the money and even say that the card doesn't even need a password and that it's by approximation, and they say they're done. While the janitor asks them not to do that they are taking something that does not belong to them and that they should think about it a little. The other employee then takes the card saying that it is from the finance company and that there is a lot of money in the account and that they are in luck, tells the other to shut up and turns his attention to the money. They decide that they are going to divide the amount in half and they do the division among themselves, and then says that in the current situation she will not need the money and they are the ones who deserve that money. They put the money in her pockets and she says she always wanted to throw water at her. Then she takes a glass of water and throws it on top of the boss, making fun of being wet, in which he rubs the water on her wet clothes and making fun of her. While the janitor calls them a crying monster, they get up and leave, but first he says that they want a picture of him with her there on the floor and that if the police arrive he will be the culprit. They force him to crouch beside the boss and take the picture, while he cries saying he didn't do anything. And they keep saying that they have proof that he was there with her the whole time, and they leave. But what they didn't expect happens. She calls them and they were supposed to come back. They turn around and look scared at her getting up from the floor at that moment, and the janitor helping her. She gets up and asks where they think they are going. They are amazed to see her standing and she says that she saw and heard everything they said and did there. And that they were wrong if they thought they would get away with their actions. They start to justify themselves, that it wasn't what she was thinking and that she was getting it wrong and calls her a boss. She then says that she was already suspicious of the two of them and that the janitor just helped her get the evidence she needed. Then she tells them how she planned everything to catch the two of them and that she asked the janitor for help because she needed his help to unmask them. They then arranged everything, and she gave him all instructions on what he should do to help her. The employee asks her to calm down and that it was her partner who took her money. He calls her a liar and says she was the one who took the things in her pocket. Then she says that she arrives and that she heard everything and that she saw who took her things out of her pocket and that she was the one who took her things, and that she heard everything she did with the company's equipment and that she trusted him so much and was betraying her like that. He tries to justify that he needed money to pay for his car. She then says pay for your car, very nice for you, and that now you will pay for your car in the middle of the street. Because they're both fired and I want them out of my company right now. The janitor claps his hands while they try to explain that they were just joking and that they wanted the company to be more lively and that it was all a joke. And that she threw you water because you were hot, and because you felt sick. But she doesn't believe it and they put them out of her company at that moment. The two go out and she asks them to return her money. They put it on the table and leave. Then she thanks the janitor for helping and that he is an exemplary employee in the company and that from now on she has complete trust in him. He thanks her saying that he is glad that she now doesn't have the employees who betrayed her and hindered the development of his company. And from that moment she appointed him to the position of new manager of the company and that his salary would be much better. He, in disbelief, hugs her and thanks her happily.